Okay, now let's go and take a look at our list here. Because we are done with FH first hop redundancy protocol. That's what FHRP stands for. We're not doing IP version 6. I don't do IP version 6. And in fact, if I had a contract with IP version 6, I have to go back and relearn everything about IP version 6. Okay. All right, let me tell you something about the industry word on the street, okay? Where our street is the internet documentation or or my favorite, okay? All right, my favorite is the news. Okay, so before I came back into IT, okay, I had started and was running for a long time, okay, within a 10-year period, my own heating and air conditioning business. Okay, when I shut it down, okay, all right, I shut it down, but then I was working for somebody else for 2 years. Okay, and at that second year, I'm like, God, what the hell are you doing, yo? You did not do this and get into this field to be working for somebody else. And I'm going to work for somebody else. I'm going to be going back into IT. Okay, all right, and that decision came from this one news report. Okay, guys, and I'm telling you, this was back in like 2007, 2008. Okay, because the following year I ended up getting into Cisco after this news report. Okay, I had ended up finally. I tried to go back into business myself. Had a car accident, and that shit was years of something that you would never wish for on anybody. Okay, and you don't be getting 20 and 30 and $50,000 for no car accident. Okay, it's all it's just not worth it. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, um, in 2008 or 9, I'm sitting in DC. Okay, stuck in traffic as usual. All right, and I'm listening to the news, and they're talking about. Okay, now you gotta understand how many years ago was that? Okay, 16, 17 years. Okay, all right. If you take 2008 and times it by 17, and yeah, I think it'll be 2025. Okay, but nonetheless, all right. Um, the thing is this. That was the year that it was reported that there was no way, shape, or form that you have a decision, but any way, shape, or form, you are going to IP version 6. And the reason why was because it was the reality of the essence of IT that we are running out of IP version 4 addresses. Okay? Now, I'm laughing at this report, okay, because I've been here before, guys. I've been in IT since 1994. Okay, you don't think I've heard it all? Okay, all right, okay. How many times have I been told that I would never have a career in Cisco? How many routers do you have in your network? You have one. You may have a few switches. Okay, you configure it once, and that's it. All right. Okay, do you think there's a career for network engineers when you just configure things once and that's it? Okay, and how many servers do you have with Microsoft? Always, everything's done on servers. You need to go to Microsoft route. Okay, so that's fine. You're pro Cisco. I mean, you're pro Microsoft. That's your thing. Okay, all right. You're not pro Cisco because you have no idea what you're talking about on the network side. Okay, all right. So, luckily, I ignored that person's advice and followed what I wanted to do. Okay, because there's no way I'm gonna be as successful in networking as I in Microsoft as I am in Cisco. Sorry. All right, but no, nonetheless, I've heard this crap before. Okay. All right, and I've heard guys even a decade ago. All right, nobody's gonna be using Cisco equipment anymore. They're too expensive. Cisco's dead. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right, the leading man. There are people. There are vendors who do not move forward with new technology until Cisco comes out with theirs. Okay, Cisco is number one in the industry. Not saying they're the best, not saying that they are exactly number one, but they're one of the tops. Okay, all right. I would say Juniper is second, but Juniper is no whore in this industry. Okay, all right, all right. When you think of networking, you think of Cisco, you think of Juniper. Okay, all right. Even that Brocade is out. Okay, people just don't pop in their head as far as networking with Brocade. Even that's what Brocade does. Okay, but that's the thing. Okay, Fortinet. All right. Okay, we're not buying Fortinet. Okay, in large enterprise environments. I'm sorry, we're just not. Okay, does not mean that we don't have Fortinet in the enterprise. I'm just saying it's not the norm as you're going out throughout your career with especially okay, and the reality is when we want serious shit, okay, we are buying serious shit. And that serious shit is Juniper or Cisco. Okay, so your concept of death, all right, this is it's just a sense of creation of a amusement of conversation. Okay, I said that wrong. It was in my head, but it came out wrong. But still, all right, it's laughable. Okay, all right, and I'm not gonna stop my career path based on your advice. Okay, because be honest, who are you? How far are you in the networking field, really? Okay, or are you just jumping on bandwagons? Okay, because when I have conversations with you, technically, okay, it is only one-sided. All right. So who are you really to give me that advice? And you're going to change your entire career path and focus on Fortinet just because they're cheap? Have you ever heard the concept in America that you get what you pay for? Okay, and there's a lot of validity for it. Cisco, yeah, Cisco might be overpriced, but you got to understand, Cisco is not just about the equipment. Okay, the other words, okay? And obviously we just turned this video into not a teaching session, but still, okay, I'm just gonna get my thoughts out and then we'll go on to the next one. So, in reality, okay, my favorite, Cisco training is a scam. And Cisco is only doing it for the money. Okay, and let me tell you something. All right, Cisco doesn't charge enough. Okay, I have done training. I have done training on the CCNA, CCNP, and CCIE level. And man, let me tell you, man, being a trainer is no joke. Okay, and if you're going to provide training, okay, it better be worth something. That means 1 minute of your video, okay, yeah, your intro or your video might be a bunch of bullshit, okay, but I can fast forward that shit, all right? But the rest of the video, okay, better not be a bunch of joking and funny shit, because I that's not what I came here for, okay? Now, that's my opinion, all right? And I take it very seriously, all right? So, trying to do the CCNA or CCIE security, okay, there is going to be a very serious different method of attacking this beast. Okay? But let me give it to you as clear as I can. Cisco has the best structured training even today, still today, for technology in our field. Okay? And here's the thing. All right? Most of the time, now don't get me wrong, okay? Juniper is an awesome platform. I love their command line. I love their features, okay? But, okay, their training sucks. Okay, don't get it twisted. Okay, and there's a lot of things that you're doing where I don't agree with. Okay, all right. I always worked in my own car. Okay, until I got running my own business with heating and air conditioning. There were sometimes I had to take my car to a mechanic because I don't have time for it. I got work to do. And every moment my car is down, okay, all right, it's down, okay? So I'm losing money, okay? And it's the first time and practically only time, which is not going to be only time because now I don't even have the energy to actually change my brakes if I need to. But it was the only time I've ever, and the first time in my life, okay, that I've ever paid for having brakes. Okay, all right, and um, I didn't have a choice. I had to get back to work. So either I paid someone $400, and hey, trust me, it was worth every penny to get my ass back on the road as fast as possible. Okay, because I'm late for appointments. Okay, so that justified it. Either I spent $400 to make thousands that day, or I do it myself, okay, and save $300 and lose thousands. It's a no-brainer. Okay, so now, all right, why the hell was I talking about brakes? I have no idea, but nonetheless, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I get that. This is how my brain works sometimes, and sometimes I lose track. But nonetheless, there has never. Oh, I was talking about me being a mechanic. Okay, so today I would actually all the knowledge that I have from working on my own cars, okay, was all done self-taught, okay, by a Chilton book, okay, and those books are not training; they're reference guides. But the reference guides are pretty damn good. Meaning that here's the thing: Chilton books are not made for you and I. They're made for mechanics as a reference guide, okay? Meaning that the person who's reading this book should have some knowledge of, I mean, they should be a mechanic, okay? All right, they're using the book as a guideline. Oh, I forgot about that particular pin I got to take off and that tool that I need. I forgot about that. And the guy was stuck until he went back to the Chilton book to read the guidelines, okay? All right, now, Juniper, there's a lot of research you have to do, and a lot of that information you're going to be getting off of forums. And you know how I feel about forums, guys. Forums to me in a lot of ways are a waste of time. I want the documentation, the official documentation from the website. And don't get me wrong, Juniper has lots of documentation, okay, but it's not easy to find. And don't get me wrong on this aspect too, Cisco is not the easiest to find either, okay. All right, now here's the thing: documentation goes two ways. Either it is a baby step by step, okay, which is what Cisco and only Cisco as a company has brought to the industry. Charge people for it because they should, okay, and its purpose for that is to create new engineers for their platforms, so there is an abundance of people to say, I know how to work on Cisco stuff, okay? Because here's the thing: I can sell you equipment for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if you don't think that there's price tags for $100,000, you've never bought a 6500 switch, a 4500 switch, or whatever, okay? I'm not kidding. Or a Nexus a 10 bay chassis. All right. Now, here's the thing: the equipment is expensive. Okay, the service contracts you better have. Okay, because Cisco doesn't just provide you with equipment; they provide you with a family, and I say family as far as quantity, a family of support. Okay, to get the job done and to bring you back to working order. Okay, and I've seen Cisco do some amazing stuff. I have worked with Cisco directly, and there's nothing better, man, in this field to brainstorm back and forth with a engineer that respects your opinion and you guys work together, because that's their job. That's usually not the case, though. Normally what's the case is I open up a ticket, okay, not I personally, but I open up a ticket and then I expect Cisco to take over, okay. That's not really the purpose of their support, but they're going to do it because they stand behind their equipment, without a doubt, okay. All right. Now, I've never had Juniper support, so I've never dealt with them, so I don't know what their level of support is. But here's the reality: neither Cisco or Juniper is going to build shit for you, because if they're going to, meaning they're going to design it and they're going to deploy it, you're going to pay out the ass, and for good reason. Okay, all right, guys, it's your job to build your network. Meaning that if you don't have the engineering skills yourself or people on your team, that's on you. Okay, all right. That equipment there is to do its job. You're buying the equipment for the features that it has, but those things don't configure themselves. And if you can't configure it, you're gonna have to pay Cisco or Juniper to configure them, okay, and deploy them and to design it, okay. And I think that's a lot misconception when people open up a Cisco TAC, okay, case. They're not there to hold your hand and redeploy, redesign stuff. They're there to fix something that either was never working in the first place that should work, okay? Meaning that all your underlying layers are working correctly. You deployed this based on Cisco's best practices and documentation. Which let me stop right there too. Cisco best practices does not mean it's law. They're just best practices. They're Chilton books. They're just guidelines. Okay? You build it any way you want. And that's where I think a lot of people are misconceived. Because then when they walk into in the network, I'm like, man, this is wrong. It's not what do you mean it's wrong? It's working. Okay? And you know what's funny? Okay? We've been doing this for 30 years, and all of a sudden you come in here and you want to redesign everything? Dude, get the hell out. Alright? I mean, get the hell out. You're not working with us, you're working against us. Okay, that's the truth of the industry. Because people with money, okay, and I don't give a shit if you're making $100,000 a year. People with money, even going to buy a $10,000 car, alright, okay, are not going to give their money over unless they want to. Okay, and the value of the car isn't what the price tag is. It is the value that someone is willing to pay for it. Don't you understand this? This is why collecting gold and silver, okay, people be tripping out, right? Because they be buying this stuff and they got thousands and thousands of, and when I mean thousands of thousands, I mean quantity. Like thousands of gold bars, right? Sitting in their safe. And then when they go to sell it, okay, they go out and look at what the value of a gold is per ounce and expect to get that. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so actually, I'm not even gonna look it up. Let's say an ounce of gold is worth $1,000. Okay, and you're trying to sell your gold to somebody. They're not gonna pay you $1,000 for it. Okay, because why would they do that? I'm gonna buy $1,000 worth of gold from you. Okay, because it's valued at $1,000. No person buying gold would do that. The whole purpose of buying gold, okay, is to have a return on investment. All right, and no one's going to do that. And now you're mad and you walk out, okay, because he's pricing you a $900, okay, for which means you got like almost like 95% of the value of the gold, okay, which is still more money, it's profit, than when you bought it 10 years ago. Sell the gold, walk away. But that's not what you do. You get all mad and huffy and puffy, okay? All right, and I heard recently that Corvette owners do the same thing, thinking that their Corvette is valued at what they are, and every time a buyer tries to come and buy their Corvette, it's like hassle. It's like it's like a drama show, okay? And nobody needs that. All right, look, I came to buy a Corvette. I didn't come here to listen to your story on why you think it's valued $10,000 more. Okay, this is what I'm willing to spend. You don't want to spend? You don't want to take it? Fine, somebody else will. Okay, so that is the value of it. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now, the value of Cisco training. Okay, I have spent $3,000 on just my boot camp alone for CCIE. I didn't go back because of the way I did it. Okay, I didn't do it like a lot of people recommend doing it, taking it twice, first in the beginning, because the bottom line is I am such a master at studying stuff. First of all, I've been doing it my whole life, and being self-taught my whole life. But at the same time, some of it is just common sense. Okay, all right. I'm not going to walk into a college campus, okay, and says I want to major physics and not get a pile of not only curriculum, but a pile of books that I'm married to every semester until I become a physics major or a physics graduate. Okay, it just you're just not going to do that. All right, you want your entire life to be about physics? Go have a major in physics in college. Pretty simple. Okay, because you are not doing anything until your degree is handed to you except physics. You don't have time for anything else. It's that much information. It's that much math. It's that much variables. Are you talking to someone who is a scientist slash physicist at heart? Now, when I mean physics, I mean basic physics. Okay? I don't get into equations and I don't get involved into things like that. However, I use physics in my life. Okay? All right? That's why I was always able to move things as a single person. Okay? If you have a huge outdoor unit, how was I able to get that unit from my, first of all, onto my truck, and then out of my truck and onto a pad and put stands on them, okay, by myself? When I can't even, there's no way I can lift the constant or total weight of that unit. I use physics to my advantage. How am I able to handle a object that I can't lift up 3 flights of stairs by myself? I use physics. How can I move a car or a truck, okay, uphill? I use mechanical advantage. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Physics is part of my life because physics is everywhere. All right? Okay, there is no chemistry without physics. There is no astro knowledge without physics. Okay? All right? There is no cooking food without physics. There's no bowling without physics. Okay? All right? And still today, being 50 years old, I meet people that are in their 70s that don't have one bit of common knowledge of physics. And it's just like, what the hell you been doing your entire life? But I can't think that way because I chose to use that information in my life. Okay? Cisco has given you the training outline of starting, and nobody else does this. And I'm not kidding. There is nobody else on this planet that has created a training from zero knowledge of IT or networking to associate, professional, and expert level. Meaning that they start from the very beginning. Answering the question, what is a network? Talking about hardware, talking about circuits, talking about data, talking about packets, talking about headers, talking about frames, talking about interface types, okay? Cable types like Ethernet or serial cables and fiber optics, okay? You don't learn this if you went to a Juniper course. Okay, Juniper assumes you already know this, and they just start right off from the level that they want to talk about. All right, now I don't know if Juniper runs their own courses, though. I think you have to go outside of them. Okay, I think they just rely on the documentation to give you the knowledge that they need. Okay, but even with that, because of my Cisco background, I was able to learn Juniper fast. Faster than I would expect it to learn because it's just that foundation knowledge doesn't leave you. Okay? And Cisco has their own training department. Dude, it's win-win. Not only are you creating training for your equipment, but you actually teach the training too. Okay? All right? And to be honest, even if they didn't have it, okay, which, thank God that they do. All right. God damn, there's enough Cisco Live videos out there, all right, to write a movie over and over and over again. Yeah, my nose is running bad. I'm sorry. Okay, so the concept is Cisco's training is not a scam. Okay, and those who have followed me since 2009 knows and can feel the difference of my confidence, my flow, my ability to troubleshoot and educate and talk about, okay, this technology as if I'm the one that created it. And trust me, okay, no way do I go that deep with even my studies, okay? All right. I had actually turned down, I had the ability to have a job before I got my networking job. And they were going to pay me the salary I was shooting for. Okay. And I had to turn it down. Okay. I saw it as an opportunity that was going to derail what my potential of becoming was in the networking field. And not to mention the fact, that's what I wanted to do. Okay. All right. That if I had taken that job, I would have fell into that position. But the cool thing about it was I was going to be learning at a low level how to actually manipulate protocol headers and protocol language. Okay, dude, that's a skill set for your ass. Okay, and yeah, I do have some regret of not taking it, but here's the reality: when you stop doing something and come back to it, okay, and then you stop it again, all right, now you are already starting a pattern that's never going to change. And you're never going to get into what you originally wanted to get into because something else is always going to come in its way. Okay? The first time back in 2000, I started Cisco training. I quit because I just knew I was not smart enough. 10 years later, 2009, which was 9 years later, I came back to Cisco and I hammered it. Okay? All right? And it was not easy. All right? And when I got to the CCNP, I had no choice but to retrain my brain how to read, or else I was stuck in that level of really understanding. Okay? I got past that. If I can get past reading, because I hated reading. Okay? If I can get... Matter of fact, I was reading this morning. The book I was reading. Okay? And I've been reading for the past week to kind of get my brain back into reading habit. Okay? All right? All right, and let's see, where am I at now? How many pages in? I'm at page 59. Okay? All right, at one point, I was at page 1, like, oh my God, it's going to take me forever to read this book, but it's not the case. Okay? Getting to page 60 is nothing now compared to what it was back in 2009, where getting past a chapter was a defeat in its own, and it wasn't an easy defeat. I say defeat, I'm sorry. Conquer, or whatever you want to call it. Opposite word. I said the wrong word. Okay. So, Cisco training is not for just making money. And let's be honest. Okay. And their equipment sales alone, Cisco training would never touch Cisco's main business. Even their service contracts, Cisco training is nothing. Okay. And don't get me wrong. All right. There's a lot of money to be made in training, but they don't charge enough. They never have. Okay? And even if their course was a $3,000 course, which used to be price tags back then like that, okay, I don't think it was $3,000. I think it was more like $1,500. Okay, if you want like a whole full course. Okay, and at that time, I would choose other methods like INE, CBT Nuggets, NARBIC training, which would be NARBIC's workbooks, by the way, because he didn't have video training. And at some point, okay, training from the aspect of YouTube videos, like things like Kevin Wallace. Matter of fact, you know what? Kevin Wallace is someone I need to check to see if he has any security training. I know he's really big in collaboration, but Kevin Wallace, Keith Barker. I don't know what Keith Barker's doing now. I think he might. I think he's still with CBT Nuggets. I haven't seen him in a while. And we never met, but that's my boy. So, Keith Parker's energy is so like, you know, um, how do I say this? Welcoming. All right, I'm sure I put an extra syllable in there, but it's very um um. God, what is the word I'm looking for? Um, Comfortable. And that's still not the word I'm looking for. There's another word that I'm looking for that would make it very clear. But, um, you know, and let me tell you, when I was doing my CCNA training, I think it was for INE. He did some videos or training for INE, routing and switching. This man literally would chuckle. Okay, I mean it was so subtle. Okay, that you could do nothing but fucking smile. Listen to this dude. All right, his personality is just like that. This, I'm trying not to act like I have an obsession with the guy or I love the guy because I don't know him. Okay, and we definitely don't want those rumors starting. But at the same time, all right, I love listening to him educate. The only thing I hate about that his training, and I'm gonna have to say this is very, very petty. Okay, all right. I hate when he talks over while he's showing a video of him typing. Okay, I find it distracting, and that shit ain't on him. It's on me. All right, so I don't know if he still does that, but still, nonetheless. And this anytime I talk about a trainer, okay, I only talk about trainers that I respect. So do never get it twisted. All right, Keith Barker is one that I highly respect for his training. Okay, not because of the way he dresses, not because of how he looks, because I could care less about those things. It's how he talks about Cisco and what I learned from him. All right, so let's not get the rumors started. All right, so now jokes aside, I digress. Now we're gonna end this video. Okay, and this is just another Kiel Rant. All right, which started off with something else but turned into a rant, and we're gonna call it what it is. All right, so be strong, be determined, be Cisco.